Welcome to the Boomer Briefing Podcast. This is going to be your 10-minute insight into the conversations shaping the accounting profession. My name is Jon Hubbard, Shareholder and Chief Growth Officer here at Boomer Consulting. And with me today is Heather Robinson, our Marketing Manager. And Heather and I just wrapped up, just a few minutes ago, our February Marketing and Business Development Circle meeting. And we wanted to highlight a couple of the conversations that were happening in the meeting and invite you to attend if you are a CMO, a growth leader, a marketing leader in your firm. So we kick things off on our first day around highlighting key trends in the profession that we believe are relevant to the firms in the circle, but also to the growth and marketing roles in the room. So we covered some key macro trends, micro trends, but it was really about what is more broadly happening in the profession and how do we as growth leaders connect our role to those trends so we can be sure to continue to drive the right strategies in the firm, have that seat at the table, and really be pushing the conversations forward that we want to have. Now, as always in our circle meetings, we had a mix of presentations from us, presentations from our members, a lot of group conversations, breakout conversations, things of that sort. So it's really a lot to recap in just 10 minutes or less. But Heather, question for you. What was maybe a key aha or a key insight that you heard a lot of during the last day and a half?
Yeah. One thing that kept coming up in a lot of the different conversations that we were having was around metrics and data. I mean, we're consistently looking for the right metrics to track what we're doing to make sure we're showing value in what marketing and growth leaders are doing. And the big thing that ends up happening is, we have data coming in, we have metrics coming in, but it's doing that forward thought about what should we be tracking, why should we be tracking those things, and how can those help us move things forward? So, data comes from so many different places.
Yeah. And I know one thing we shared during the meeting is sometimes data is treated by kind of like the food that's in the refrigerator. Sometimes we're hungry and we just open the fridge. What's in the fridge? And I'm just going to eat whatever is in there. Sometimes we approach our data at our firms the same way, where it's like, well, what data do I have access to? And I'm just going to use that. When in reality, what decisions do we want to be making, and what information would allow us to be able to make more informed decisions? Actually, as the meeting wrapped up today, I sat down with one of our members, and she was showing me her new kind of data dashboard that she's using, and she highlighted that this data dashboard is creating a new seat for me to sit at and have the conversations with firm leadership that we need to be having around profitability, client experience, things of that sort. So speaking on client experience, I just wanted to highlight maybe one thing that firms are going to be leaving here thinking differently about or doing differently, and it relates to client experience. So we had a client experience, two-part session actually on a client experience today, but it was purely focused on A-level clients. We've all been a part of client experience sessions out there in the profession, and there's nothing wrong with those, and they're great sessions, but we really wanted to highlight the A-level client experience. And one thing that really stood out to everyone, both in the room and online that were joining, was we need to be able to have truly high-level services for those A-level clients, such as strategic planning or visioning services. If we have these services for those A-level clients, we will not only be able to learn more about their business, provide more value to our top clients, but we're going to be able to increase the stickiness to those clients, and we're going to be able to, as a positive side effect, cross-sell more services to those clients. So even though the room is full of leading firms in the profession, we did a show of hands, and most firms in the room don't have a true strategic planning or visioning service for their top clients. So I threw out the question, if your number one competitor started to do strategic planning or visioning with your A-level clients, would that make you nervous? Everyone said yes, which means we should probably start to figure out how we deliver this service. So there were a few firms in the room that shared a bit about how they are approaching that service, but especially in the age of AI, where a lot of the value our firms used to create is starting to potentially become diminished or commoditized even more. We have to think about what experiences do we want to be creating for our A-level clients? What types of services can we be delivering to them that are harder to replicate? And that increase that stickiness and overall client experience. So Heather and I could go on about all the conversations we discussed over the last day and a half, but we wanted to spend a few minutes just highlighting those for you. So if you're interested in potentially joining our marketing and business development circle, simply go to boomer.com. You will see on the services tab, you will see marketing and business development circle. Click on that. You can read more about it, even see some member testimonials that Heather and her team have put together. And you will see an apply now button where you can apply for membership to the circle. Thank you so much for listening, and hopefully we will see you at a future meeting.